I'm going to call over the town board meeting at the Town of Lisbon Town Hall on Monday, September 13th, 2021 at 6:30 PM. Roll call, please.
Chairman Osterman.
Here.
Supervisor Moonen. Supervisor Beal. Here. Supervisor Braun.
Here.
Supervisor Plotecker. Here. Administrator Nicholas. Here. Clerk Capazzo to record the minutes, and DPW, excuse me, DPW Director Joe DiStefano and Building Inspector Brian Olhafen are in the audience.
Thank you. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 3 is comments from citizens present. If anyone has anything to say, please come up to the mic, state your name and address, please. If you are not on the agenda, this will be your only opportunity to speak tonight. Does anyone wish to speak? John?
Got one comment card from John Thun.
Hey guys, hi, John Fenn, W226N8947, Jolin Drive, Sussex, Wisconsin, 53089. Good evening. Hi there. Okay, so I'm here to talk about, maybe some of you guys know, maybe you don't know. I know at least one, two, three, four, at least 5 of you are highly aware of the new, what's being called Farmland Preservation District that's being proposed, that's moving up through the Planning Commission. And I'm substantially concerned about that. It's an amusement park, basically, that they're calling farmland preservation. It's been called, at town board meetings by attorneys, it's been called Disneyland. And why am I concerned about that? Because it's right behind my house. So here's Attorney Macy going on record, describing to the Planning Commission what this is going to be, if they move it forward and approve it. This is Attorney Macy. So if anyone know who Attorney Macy is, he worked with the Basses he worked with the Village of Richfield, and he strongly recommended that this get denied in Richfield because of the substantial nuisance that it could create. And also, he goes on record writing reports that say it even creates nuisances in other communities that he represents, even when as narrowly defined as wedding venues. So we have all that stuff that's all in written reports to Richfield. But here's Attorney Macy at the village meeting describing what it's going to be to the Planning Commission.
This is a little bit of a mini Disneyland in the middle of a 120-acre parcel. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. And we want to, and if that's the vision that you want to allow them to make money doing that, the staff is, we just wanted to make sure you don't have a problem with that.
So Attorney Macy goes on record.
Mini Disneyland in the middle of a 700.
Attorney Macy is very concerned that this is going to be Disneyland-like, and he wants to make sure the Planning Commission is okay with the Disneyland-like complex. So no plan has come forward yet, but I know from being at the last meeting that a lot of the proposals that the Basses were proposing were trains. And so I can play what was at the last Richfield meeting when Jim Healy went on record as saying this.
Similar to the Milwaukee County Zoo, on tracks. I think that's a substantial change. They have a novelty train right now that looks like Tom the Train, or a version of Thomas the Train that nobody probably has any issues with. But I would be willing to bet that the people who live in the surrounding area would take great umbrance with the fact that there would be a track installed to go around the 70 acres or some.
And so we finally got, after months and months and months of denials, we got open records request of where the track, Basses proposed the track. And here's my house right here. So the track was proposed about 650 feet from my house. The track is a little over a mile long. And I don't care how small they say it, miniature they say, they can call it whatever it is. It's going to be very loud. But to put that into perspective, from the center line of the county or this town property to the back of the lot, that's 600 feet. If you can imagine a train going around thousands and thousands of times from where the road is to the back of this lot, to my house, to my lot line, that's where that back of that train is being proposed. Where they want to put the wedding venue is right up on the top of the hill. So I am right up here at the same elevation. So we have engineers right now, sound engineers and all kinds of engineers working on how big the walls are going to have to be to prevent the sound. And the berm is going to have to be something like 60 feet high and thousands of truckloads of fill to prevent the sound from hitting us. And then, so let's see. And, what's even a little bit more concerning to me is that this district allegedly what is being created very specifically for basses. And I can just go through and I'll play you this. So it's not being created for anybody. I can only, you guys judge for yourself.
I do have a question. If we do create this zoning, will there be any land in the town that qualifies or would fall under that zoning once we create it?
Well, the vision here is it would be the Massey land. They have 120 acres under contract and that is going to be written for them to be able to petition to rezone into this district.
Last time I checked, this is equal opportunity country and we don't write ordinances for people to put people into. That's, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. That's wrong. All right. Do whatever you guys want to do, but you know, that's just not how things should be done. And I'm going to play another recording from Blake Bassey at the last Richfield meeting when he said he wanted to have outdoor concerts.
Indoor outdoor music, which we currently don't do, like a little live band, country music for people. And again, I'm just going over the things that, you know, who knows how far out, but these are just future ideas. And then.
Okay, so now we got trains. And then the other thing that they went on record as saying is that they wanted to have outdoor drinking through mazes. So at the last meeting, they said they wanted to have mazes where people would have beers and they would walk around and get beers outside. And then they would get wines on the way back. And I can play that for you too. They called them corn mazes with beers. So they would wander around the corn mazes. And I'm an average intelligent guy, but I get lost in corn mazes. So, and especially if you're drinking, and I don't drink much. So I can tell you where that is here about the outdoor drinking and the wandering around the corn maze. I can play that for you. But that was, you'll have to, that's number 13 here. Well, I guess I'm telling you, this is going to blow up into something that you guys really are not going to be able to control if we don't control this right from the beginning.
And a wine maze, basically the concept is that is there you have local breweries come in and you basically just put them in the station and they just sample little samples. Like you go into a brewery, they give you little samples of each kind of beer and everything. So you would just be, there'd be 10 out there and they just go through the maze.
10 beers.
Their experience through that. And also you could do sunflower wine way out with wine, doing the same concept with local wineries as well.
Okay, so she said put 10 beers out there and you walk around the maze, drink the 10 beers, and then she said you could do the same thing on the way back with sunflowers. Like, I don't want a lot of people wandering around. I have a beautiful house on 50 acres. The Fox River runs through it. Once the trains start blowing and the people start wandering around drunk and the outdoor music starts blaring. So basically, the train will probably start, if I'm just going to take a guess, the train will probably start about 10 a.m. when they open up. Probably they close about 6. So, and then the music will start and the dance, the outdoor music, and then the wedding halls. That'll go to about 11 or 12. So I'm looking at realistically about 13 hours of trains, rocket, whatever they, you know, everything they have, dance, you know, I don't know. So I can only speculate right now. I can't, you know, I'm waiting for the approval to come through, but
Just so the board is aware, this is we're in the zoning stage
yeah,
of this. This is not a proposal that's actually come.
hasn't got this far yet,
Hasn't.
but I want to make
Right.
everybody aware of what's coming, what's working its way up through the ranks right now. That's why I'm here, right? And so I know also some of the planning commission members are here, so I figured it might be an extra opportunity to say something to them too. And then also, I'm a developer. I'm a pretty good sized developer, okay? I've developed 1 million square feet of properties. So I know a lot about development. I mean, so if you're gonna let them, so they bought 120 acres, and the proposal right now is to let them convert 70 acres into whatever they want to do. I'm sorry, 70%. So 70% of 120 acres is 36 acres, okay? That's 36 acres. Right now, their whole operation is on 12 acres. You know, if you go in and you measure it all, it's only on, so they're confined to 12 acres over there. So you're gonna let them be 300% bigger behind my house, okay? So if you look at the aerials, here's their they have parking lots. They have 4 parking lots. Actually, here's 1,200 cars parked in their parking lot that they fit into 12. Oh, you guys can have this. Pass this around. These are, they have 3,000-4,000 people in there on 12 acres. So how am I going to deal with having thousands? I mean, if right now they're packing 3,000 or 4,000 people into that 12 acres and the jumping land and whatever they're doing on 12 acres, and you guys say, all right, let's do 70% where they can have a party zone. We're gonna make it agriculture. We're gonna call it farmland preservation, but it's really an amusement park, right? And now you give them 36 acres when they're only operating on 12. They can be, just based on that mathematics, they could have 12,000 people in there. They could put, they just expand the same size parking lot. That's just pure math. I'm not making assumptions. I'm just going on what I know from what exists. So, let's see. And the traffic over there is absolutely horrendous as it is right now. I mean, it's horrible. Like sometimes I own 2 businesses on Colgate Road. And I sometimes, like, my employees can't even get there. It takes a half an hour each way when it should be, I mean, to come from 41, it sometimes takes 35 minutes. So I'm paying them basically an extra 45 minutes to an hour to sit in traffic just to get to one of my businesses and back. And so the police are actually parked for a month on Town Line Road, and they direct, and some of the people aren't from the town, Kathy. I don't know if you've ever been over there in the busy season. The police actually sit on Town Line Road and direct you. You can't even get through there. And then there are also police directing at Bass's. And when they look at those parking lots, they already got 1,200 people in there. Where are the people gonna go? So, and then to do this big expansion over there, it's gonna create such a nuisance. And I'm not here to object to Roger the farmer. I think I'm not here in any way to object to Roger the farmer. I'm here saying that, hey, whoa, let's rein this thing in before it gets out of control. You know, and like, even in some of these other recordings I have, Attorney Macy says that he can't in good conscience recommend this because he can't control who's going to own this in the future. And then he uses the term, the actual word, Tommy Bartlett could buy this for all we know. And there's nothing that you can do. So he says that to Richfield. And that's all. I mean, well, this is here.
Their presentation. But we as a staff can't, in good conscience, recommend that you create a zoning district, even for this single 70-acre parcel, that I can't guarantee who's going to own it tomorrow.
It's just, he keeps going. And so the fact that, I know you got to go through the process, but, and then I also want to just make one more argument on behalf of myself, is I'm a developer. I pay hundreds of thousands of taxes a year. And the fact that that whole place over there to the north is only assessed at $844,000. So the municipality is getting a little over $12,000 a year in taxes. They have their personal residence there. It's about 3,600. I'm just taking a guess. I measured it 3,600 square feet to 4,000. Tens and tens and tens of thousands of square feet buildings. The parking lots there are probably worth hundreds of thousands, just in gravel. So, I mean, so what's the town of Lisbon really gonna get out of this? I mean, if you put a house in there every 2-3 acres, you're gonna have a tax base of 24 to 30 million. What is it gonna cost to go, you know, when you have a bunch, I'm just gonna make an assumption. I'm not saying this is gonna be the case, but when you have a lot of drinking, you have weddings and people wandering around. I'm just making an assumption here. I'm not making a statement against anybody if Roger's listening. You have, like, we've all been to Lions Days. We've all been to State Fair. We've all been to, you know, Summerfest. That's where you have outside drinking and live music, not in Lisbon behind my house. All right. So that's basically kind of, thank you for letting me talk. I kept going, but I'm just kind of passionate because my family's been raised here. I brought my kids home here. You know, this is where we live, and I just feel like I gotta just say what's on my chest. So that's why I'm here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Does anyone else wish to speak tonight?
I'm sorry. And Linda, I'm sorry, I don't want to single you out, but I know you're a realtor. And when you have a beautiful house that you've worked your whole life for, and you made payments your whole, you know, and now you finally got it to where it's done, and you have the river run through it, and you've raised your family there, you don't want to move because of all the music and the, you know, and then what is going to happen to the property value of a house like that when this, you know, it's allowed to get out of control. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Anyone on Zoom?
If anyone on Zoom wants to speak, please use the raise hand function. No one on Zoom. Oh,
Okay.
I've got an Eric Roberts on Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, I'll make this brief. I just
Take your
wanted
name
to,
and address.
sorry, Eric Roberts, N91W27428, Red Fox Run, Heartland, that's in the town of Lisbon. I saw on today's agenda that there's a closed session with some more discussion on use of the Leeds property. As a resident, I presented last year through TR Capital a proposal to use a few of those acres on Leeds property, and we never heard back from the board or anything about our proposal. And as someone who pays taxes in the town of Lisbon, and I'm assuming that land was used with my tax money to be purchased for the town of Lisbon, I'd like to think that we would be given some more consideration for use of that land. And I see that some of that land is still available and still being discussed in closed session. So I'd just like to express that I'm a little disappointed that we didn't hear back from the board, and as residents, we're not being given a equal or maybe more consideration for a shot at that land. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Just state your name and address if you would.
My name is Pam Polyak. My home address is West 155, North 6589 Blue Heron Drive. That's in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. I'm actually just here to introduce myself. My name is Pam Polyak. Like I said, I own Polyak Trucking and Polyak Logistics, third generation trucking company. I handed out material to you guys just in consideration for the closed session that you guys are having later for the land, the Leeds landscape land. So any questions, just let me know.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? All right, move on to item 4, the meeting minutes, discussion and necessary action regarding approval of the August 23rd, 2021 town board minutes. We have the minutes in front of us. Any discussion on them, or is there a motion? Press your button, Linda.
I make a motion, we approve as presented.
Motion by Linda Beal to approve as presented. Is there a second? Second by Becky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 5 is accounts payable, authorizing the payment of the bills in the amount of $110,655.92. Kathy?
Our top 5 expenses are Kunkel Engineering for $25,519.03. Premier Building Inspections for $24,982.50. Municipal Law and Litigation Group, $9,791.30. Verbicker Associates for Planning Services, $8,359. And Rural Mutual Insurance for $8,221.50. I ask for your approval.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the bills? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $110,655.92.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Doug. Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, announcements and correspondence. We have the tire roundup and appliance drop-off on Saturday, 9/18 at 9 a.m. to noon at the DPW. We have a special town board meeting on Monday, the 20th at 6:30 at the town hall. There's a park committee meeting on the 20th at 6:30 at the Richard Young Fire Station. Sanitary Sewer District Number 1 Commission meeting is Wednesday, the 22nd at 6:30 at the town hall. Plan Commission and joint public hearings on Thursday, October 7th at 6:30 at the Richard Young Fire Station. And we have a town board meeting after that on the 11th at 6:30 at the town hall. Does anyone else have any other announcements or correspondence to note? All right, item 7, administrator report.
Yes, I've, since the last meeting, I had received 6 public records requests from Heidi and John Then concerning communications with the Bossies. And 5 of them have been completed. 1 was denied and asked for additional clarification and time. Expect to get that out as soon as I get a response from them. The Leeds property or Business Park East, all water for Richard Road has been tested and passed. Richard Road is expected to have a binder and final lift at the end of the week of the 20th of September. Started the budget prep. Today, you're going to hear about DPW is going to go through highway, parks, building and grounds and their capital expenses. Next week, we'll be hearing from the fire chief and the clerk on their requests for capital projects. A first draft line item is to be sent to you by October 5th. Both October 11th and 18th are set for budget workshops. Department head evaluations have been completed, and the fire evals that have been done, they are done on annual basis on their anniversary. So they weren't done in August. Michelle is working on getting those up to date and then getting those over. Communications, I signed an attorney engagement letter for the firm Von Friesen and Roper for employee services. Notification from DOR we received stated Lisbon debt limit is 77 million, including the TIF debt, we're at 11 million. Counteroffer has been sent to Brian Builders as requested, and then a census population numbers came in at 10,477. Started the redistricting preliminary plan.
Any questions for Kathy? Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Item 8, supervisor reports. Does anyone have anything to report at this time?
Nothing to report. Our next meeting's on the 22nd, and I'll have something.
All right, anyone else? All right. Item 9, unfinished business. A, discussion and necessary action regarding a request from Paul and Michelle Sharpley for a secondary extension to remove items stored in violation of Town Code Chapter 5, subsections 502, parent A, parent 1, parent 2, 502, parent D, parent 7, and 506, parent A, parent B, parent C, and comply with code violation and repair orders issued on 6/23/2021 for the property located at West 220 North 7095 Town Line Road, tax key LSBT 0237.981.001.
I received a phone call from Michelle on Friday, and she came in with a written request which was, and it was turned in before the deadline. The extension was granted until the 9th. The request, written request was received on the 8th. Mr. and Mrs. Sharpley are here in person. I did request that Inspector Olhafen do a brief exterior inspection of the property, and he did so. His email and findings are included in your packets. And he is present if you've got any questions, and the Sharpleys are here as well.
I just question for Brian. The couple asking for an extension presented pictures to us with some kind of going, gone kind of narratives. How did your inspection compare to those if you had the chance to observe their pictures?
When I compared the. Name and address and everything. So I compared the pictures from the first time I was there and today, and it looks like they got rid of 2 vehicles. There's a van and there's another pickup truck there today that appeared to be licensed and roadworthy. The Pella job trailers are still there. But as you can see from the pictures, there's still a fair amount of debris, construction materials. There's a cement mixer, a log splitter in the front, and just miscellaneous tarp items throughout the property. As far as the condition of the property, that was on the original report. It doesn't look a whole lot different. There was a hole in the roof. They tarped that. They did not fix it, but it is tarped. So that's
You would, obviously, this is going to fall on the board here, but we had stated that we needed substantial progress to grant another extension. Would you say there's much less than half that's been moved,
I would say less than half.
considerably less, or?
I would say just under. I wouldn't say considerably. No. They did make some effort, but there's a lot of tarped items out there, and there's a lot of miscellaneous things still out there. And the only concern that I would have, if the board doesn't mind me making just a personal comment, is I just would like to see if the interior of the home is actually even livable. Because the previous owner had stated that the septic system failed. It was an old pit system. So I don't know where that's at. So that's the only comment that I would like to let the board consider, if it even is pertinent to this.
I just have a quick question. It says getting licensed. Well, what does that mean?
We'd
Does
have to
that
ask the applicant.
mean- Oh, okay, then I'll wait.
I don't know that Brian will know that.
Okay, I didn't know if they told you that.
We can, they're here.
Can I ask them now?
Mhm.
Okay. Can I ask you
Just step
something?
on up to the microphone if you would.
Would be all right if my wife did too, we're under doctor's care, okay. Thank you, sir. Oh, ma'am. We have got mental health in our life and contact with all our
Right.
life. And which we stated in there, there has been 2 vehicles moved. Schaefer Auto Body is going to remove the big truck there.
How about the pellet trucks?
Yes,
Okay,
no, the big white truck.
okay, okay.
And that will be out, he would have had it out today. There's a Tom that does the fireworks and stuff here. He's brought dumpsters 3 times here. He said we can even use his attorney, but we have attorney as a rule. Anyway, we never had to pull into place. I pulled in for a hernia operation, and sorry I talked too much. Anyway, the sewage backed up. We put in the hip socket for me, and we got what they call pericarditis, which is inflammation of the heart attack.
Right.
Sir.
We know
Sir.
you have a lot of issues.
Sir, we want to just stick right to the issues of the property,
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's a, I appreciate the fact you have some medical issues and we feel for you on that, but what we're interested in is the property right there.
Okay. Also, I have put in city sewers. I am trying to annex across the street to hook into the city sewer. The sewer does work, even though it is.
You're trying to annex?
What? They're putting city sewer in and water across the street.
Mhm.
We have
Town and land.
in the town of Land, as we speak, and that's where the road is closed.
Mhm.
And I've done that many times before. It's not my specialty, but I know how to do it. I've actually put in, bill with the state of Wisconsin wouldn't allow it, dry wells and sewer
So
system.
the septic system has
Yes,
failed.
septic system. As far as I know, we've tested it and it does dissipate just fine.
Okay.
I will have somebody come in, I will have Roder come in and check it out. Roder, septic. And,
Okay. What was your-
Can we get back to the question that I asked? The license, the pellet trucks, it says license next month. What are you gonna do with those once they're licensed?
We have storage in them. I had to pull in into apartments that I never had. in my
Okay,
life.
are you gonna get rid of these trucks?
They're full of all our personal.
And where are
property.
they gonna go, sir?
Well, one of the requests for a garage, everybody has to use the garage or our garage. The cement mixer is there because I need to do some stone work. The welder's there to put in the beam in the basement. And the two log splitters are there because I can't split wood anymore.
Is it 2 pellet trucks that you've got full of 3?
Yes, and they will be licensed. I always work for myself, so we got very little social security. I've done everything from GE to Avastar, everything there is. They call us in fact, I haven't paid many years ago. guilty.
I appreciate that, sir, but are we just kind of getting back to the fact that these three trucks you plan on leaving on the property and you want to build a garage?
Yes, indeed. And I plan to be a lifelong resident. I've been Officer County resident all my life. And
Have you checked in to see if you could have a garage there?
everybody else seems to, I'm not talking a garage, I'm talking like in yards. One of those.
A pole barn.
A little pole barn. It can be taken down again.
How much land do you have there, sir?
There's 1 acre. The neighbors don't realize that the easement belongs to us. And they put a great big sign, a 4x8 sign in our yard. And
Okay,
he came in our yard and actually threatened us. We had tires, everything all over the place. But he cleaned up and went to sell his place.
okay, all right, sir, thank you.
As soon as our help gets back, we'll be more than happy to. There's pictures that. two
Sir.
dumpsters
We have
out there so
Sir.
far.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hang on one second.
I'm done right now.
Okay. Doug?
My concern is we gave them this time frame, and we're hearing that there wasn't significant amount of things done. That is, I mean, to give them an extension just to go through this again and nothing's gonna happen the next time, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. And it looks like even with everything that's there, it could probably even be just rearranged and cleaned up a lot. I'm not so sure that just giving an extension at this time without some kind of absolute plan submitted and a deadline and some things here,
I'd be more than happy to do that, sir.
well, but you should have been done already. That should have been done already.
I'm sorry that the man that was helping us lost his foot 2 days ago.
Lost
And
his
he
foot.
got a dumpster out twice. He moved and helped us move everything there is. And he would be there today if it wasn't that he lost part of his foot. And
You see the predicament we're in though, sir? Sir. The predicament we're in though is there had to be substantial progress done and we're less than half. So you have, as far as, even if we granted another extension,
Certainly not to get help, and I do not get paid for social security until by the 10th, I have everything licensed. And everything was moved out of the house, they apparently used it for storage when the bank had it. The people that lived there before, the other houses.
is the house livable?
Oh, yeah.
Would you allow it to be inspected?
What?
Would you allow it to be inspected?
It would be up to my attorney.
Okay.
No problem whatsoever.
Becky?
I'm pretty sure septic systems, the county comes out, inspects them and okays them to go or condemns them.
I'd be more than happy with that.
I think they do. Right? I think the county does that.
Okay.
I have no idea. We have medical problems. Also, we're taking diuretics, which is even harder to walk.
Sure. Well, I don't think any of us expected you personally to do it, sir, but whether it's you or someone else, we just need to get it done.
We have had somebody there every day, a black man who now he works for McDonald's, but I had to go and pick him up, walk truck. His wife walked through life, but he would still help us. What was his name? John, and he was there every day helping us. He helped us drywall, and there was a lot of things in place. And where we got it.
How long ago did you move out? You told us last time, I thought you moved into an apartment.
You have never actually lived there.
Have you ever lived in the house?
Oh, yes, I looked at it right now.
Oh, I thought you said last time that you were renting an apartment.
No, I was in the apartment and the sewage backed up. And we have what they call pericarditis.
Okay,
And,
okay, that's fine, thank you. So you're back in the
and I'd
house.
be more than happy to license everything on 5 or 7. I don't get much for social security check because
Yeah.
I always do it myself.
Well, I know it took you a long time to gather all this stuff, but you know, I was hoping too that you had moved faster to get it out. Even calling a junk dealer, if they would come.
The town of Delafield went to no commerce and our house did not count. It was 7,000 square foot house.
Okay,
And it didn't count. And
Sure.
okay, thank
I
you.
was on my way to Florida. And
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mark?
I guess the position I stand is that we've already been here once before for an initial extension. Looks like we were back on 7/20. I drive by this property
Mhm.
once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And since this request has come to the board, I've taken a keen eye to make sure to check on it every day. Unfortunately, I mean, I have seen small progress, but for a property facing this kind of action against themselves, I haven't seen substantial progress, which I know we went at length to tell you guys the last time. Like the chairman reiterated, we haven't ever expected you guys were personally going to do it. Hold on, sir. Hold on. But thank you. But I think this board is very reasonable. We most often do give an extension to people who are willing to work with the town. This is a very compact residential and looks like there's some mixed use around there. I know there's a new property or revamped property to the south. I just don't see that substantial progress has been made, and I would not be in favor of granting a motion to extend.
I guarantee you, license and everything taken care of by the 7th. We'll get our social security check, which is very small.
And I guess I can continue my comment. We're here again from a matter that started in the first week of June. We waited until September 8th to give us notice, which is the last day to even post anything in our public notice that, you know, we're going to be doing something with your property. You guys waited till then to inform us that you need essentially another extension. I don't see a lot of movement with the graces that the board is offering by giving extensions. So unfortunately, I think we need to take the next step as a entire town and move to not grant an extension and then issue a letter for fines. I think that's the only way we're going to get movement on this property for the sake of all the residents of the town.
I will lose the property now. First of all. And the doctors turn around and say, don't do anything because you're taking diuretics and everything. and my heart medicine, and I've never had anything like that happen. She was 28%, 33% left ventricle.
But sir,
Sir.
we're very aware of your medical problems, but as we talked about at the last meeting, and this is tough, I mean, this is tough on all of us, I believe, but it's, you have not made significant progress here. Even getting things licensed, I mean, there is a lot of garbage around here. I mean, you've put tarps over it, but
Yeah.
you've made it all look blue instead of whatever it was. But
Well, I'm in the process of moving it out, sir. I'm sorry to stand that has the dumpsters and access to them, lost we put 2 days ago.
It-
He's-
but, I
he's a
mean-
Lifelong resident of Lamin. He lives right up the road from us.
sure, but what about professional agencies? Did you call any professional agencies to come in?
Professional agent.
Did you try someone else when he couldn't pull through? I mean,
I
when
did.
was this? A few days ago?
Yes, 2 days, 2 days. ago.
Okay, in 2 days, he wasn't gonna get this all cleaned up.
Well, He's been bringing a dumpster there about every day.
But this has been,
We've got
how many
more-
days has this been?
We've got more pictures.
I mean, There's been 45 days and we're talking about 2 days ago, he lost his foot.
Oh, he had a kidney operation.
Then you hire somebody else.
I have pictures of him removed all the vehicle, the Ford vehicle, the black vehicle has been removed. And Schaefer is removing the white truck. It would have been gone today if it hadn't rained. I think that's quite a lot of progress into the building, my vehicle and the pellet trucks. And like to put up in the large building, everybody else has one. The neighbors-
But sir, why don't you move the pellet truck stuff in and rent a storage garage and put stuff in there?
It was, because we need to access it to bring things into the house.
Our tools.
Our tools, saws, hammers, nails, everything.
So you're working on your house?
Yes, I'm a professional.
Do you have a building
contractor, and
permit?
I've been all my life. Land and
Do you have a building permit?
I am like for one and also a dog license. And I will do that on the 5th, if you'd like.
But you're already doing the work.
Yes.
I think we should, the house, you talked about having the house inspected. I think that really needs.
We'd have to, I don't know how that all works.
Pardon me?
I don't know how that works.
Um,
The woman who sold it to us said it didn't need an inspection, but we
you
really
know.
got stuck with it. She claimed she was a realtor and she has one house. A horse ranch
Brian.
in the falls.
Go to that one. As far as having the house inspected, what's the process for that?
They'd have to give me permission. First of all, I'd probably bring someone with me as a witness. But I would be willing to inspect the house. If he's willing to.
As far as inspecting the septic is done by the county
It is done by the electrical.
upon request, or how is that done?
I'd have to ask them. I know they do them, but I think they'd have to be requested. It would have to be requested.
For the record, when's the correct time to ask for a building permit?
For the record, before you start the project.
Thank you.
I have not started it yet. We moved in, but all we did was plastic the ceilings. And
Okay.
I don't think that.
Well, I just asked you if you had started and you had stated you did. So I was assuming you had started working on the inside. Because you said you had some drywall put up and some other stuff.
Couple pieces of
Sure. Any electrical work?
No, I've been electrical contractor. since
Sure, just asking if the work.
Any
No,
plumbing?
no,
Any plumbing?
No plumbing. No.
Okay. Where's everybody at?
It's quite a shock what happened there.
Sure.
It happened both of them.
Does it change anything in your mind, Doug?
No, I don't think an extension should be allowed, and if it isn't, then I think he'll do more quicker.
Linda?
I question if an extension would help as well. I think in the beginning, we said, we talked about they were going to come back to us, but I don't think that they have moved in a good manner forward. That's what I'm concerned about. Even if we give them 30 days, and they had asked for additional 60 days per his letter.
Sure, but hang on, sir. I'm discussing this at the board right now.
Yeah.
Becky?
Just don't see what good it's going to do us to start finding him every single day. Is that not what it is? It's fines by the day. I can't see like it. That's gonna do us any good either.
Do you think maybe giving him 30 days to say, hey, you will get it done, or we will start finding you to the max?
The thing is, if the fines start at the end of this extension or they start in 30 days, I believe the fines are going to start either way.
Yeah.
The only difference is it's going to be cold.
Yes, yeah.
And once it gets cold and once it starts snowing,
We don't even know. if
it's
it
not going to
has-
snow in, well, hopefully it doesn't, but it could snow in 30 days. I hope not, but
I mean, I was in that house years ago and it wasn't in good shape years ago. So I
Yeah.
have some serious doubts about the house. It might not even be worth fixing.
sure. I guess I would, for me, I would want to, I'd want to know what the inside condition of the home is.
Me too.
If it isn't, we'll be more than happy to put it up for sale. The neighbors very much violated everything they could by putting.
We're not here for that, not here for that. Mark?
I think we sat back in July and stated our opinions, and we were very gracious with an extension then, and we said what we were gonna do, and I think as a town, our neighbors to this property expect us to do that, and I'm not saying it needs to be $224 a day, but I think there should be some fine assessed to the property on a daily basis that would accelerate the movement of getting this property back to a quality of life that's acceptable to ordinance as well as the quality of life of everybody around it.
We're gonna start in 30 days and we will be in compliance or we will put the house up for sale.
Even if the house is for sale and not compliant, it's still gonna get fined. Just because you put it up for sale doesn't mean the fines would stop.
I'll have to give it back to her or something. We really got shafted, that's all I can say.
Is there a way to start the fines and hold them in abeyance and we accumulate the fines as they go? And if there is super significant action happening within a week or 2 weeks, that at some point we could say, okay, we could waive the fines as long as it's all happening. But if it's not happening, the fines are there. Is there a way we can hold them in abeyance for that?
Well, in my experience is that we fine and then the daily fines continue until it gets in compliance. And once it's in compliance, then our attorney will come back to the board and ask them if they're willing to work on what the fine actually. So you have another fine, but to get the fines going, it gets in court. We don't have anything to do with it while it's in court. The court will deal with trying to get them to get in compliance. The fines will continue until it gets into compliance. After the compliance, then the attorney would bring and offer them. Yes, on what the deal that the judge would accept and what they accept.
Does the owner, do they pay for those court fees?
Yeah.
And what does that generally run? Just curious.
It's, I think, citation is 187.
Okay,
I think our ordinance is up to 224.
okay.
For what it's worth, we'd like to be more in compliance and we would like it to be. I never had lived this way. And I had no idea the hernia would go awry and things like that. Anyway, that's
But we,
irrelevant.
it didn't happen overnight. And it's,
No.
I mean, this has been going on and there's been substantial amount of time to get this corrected.
The
So,
other concern is if the house is actually, the other concern is if the house is actually in a livable state. So I can look into, he mentioned he has an attorney and I can talk to our town attorney and see if the attorneys can come up with a way that we can get inside the building and see if it's in a livable structure.
Or would you
not.
just be willing to give us, give Brian permission now to go into your home with notice?
After the license, everything, I'd be more than willing to-
No, now.
Like, no.
Now,
I guess that would be up to my attorney. What they said.
Brian,
For what it's worth, we've got somebody there every day.
Yeah.
Helping us until the man lost his foot.
would he have been required to have an occupancy permit to move back in, to move in?
If they pull a building permit and they do some remodeling, they would get a final, it's not necessarily considered an actual occupancy, but it's just saying that the work is complete. It's not an occupancy like a new one.
So as of right now, it would not have been required.
Correct.
For what it's worth, the well is shorting out to the Casey, and it costs $1,000. We really got stuff. That's all it seems that.
You bought a lemon, sir.
What?
You bought a lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I certainly did.
The problem is your neighbor is now living next to a rotting lemon
Yeah.
and they want to.
He wants to sell his house and his look too much like ours, no way want to sell it.
So we got to make a decision what we're
so
gonna do.
the well is not good either?
It's good
Oh,
now.
yes,
You
we're
get
all
it
fine
fixed.
now.
Oh.
All I did is put a wire nut back on it. I don't think that's the way to go.
So one thing we're asking is permission to enter the house to do an inspection to make sure the house is livable.
Can I ask my attorney, is that be all right, and get back to you right away?
What's right away? Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
If I can get a hold of you.
Well, we have a board meeting next week. We could, put-
go out Wednesday afternoon.
we could put this over
What's that date? It's
20th.
The 20th.
we post-
And we always get
we grant an extension until, when did it end?
whenever we get.
When did it end before?
We have to, so this job for anything. It's the only legal way to do it.
I mean, 4 days past it already. All right. Would it be okay with the board if we granted an extension until the 20th to get some of these questions answered? That would give you 7 more days to make substantial progress.
Mhm.
And I'm talking substantial.
I guess we're gonna need staff time to say that it's not in compliance with what the complaint was. So I don't know that we could make it the day of.
You mean the extension? We could grant another one on the 20th.
What's the qualification for meeting the extension though?
They just have to ask for, normally the extension, they have to ask for the request, and they did that.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is on the opposite side of an extension, we have to make finality on this. So if they do not meet the board's desires for an extension, should that come on the 20th, we need to be able to take some action and not delay this until October.
Agreed on that.
No, I do not want that.
We don't want that.
Otherwise, it's just like granting the extension.
Yeah. We might as well grant a month then because
Right.
the board meets again the 11th.
So.
After
if
the
on
20th.
The board decides to go to citation. The next day, I think. Sure.
How about talking to the attorney and then having the septic checked?
I think that might be part of the
Calling the county.
compliance with,
As long as they need, aware of it to understand. Because we actually went through all of this at that June meeting.
some of the biggest things here are though is the fact that the neighbors don't care if the septic works unless it's going in their yard and they don't care if it's got water and they don't care how the inside looks. They care how the outside looks.
That's true.
I don't think the complaint is for the inside of the residence, so I think we'd have to bring a separate complaint to take action on that. So I think it'd be improper of the board to hear anything other than what the complaint is.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just for the. Well, if that's the case, I guess at this point, I would have to say that I'm ready to move for start citations at that point.
Mhm.
Whether or not the house is livable, I guess that'll be a separate issue then.
It's quite a challenge. It's the worst I've ever had, but I think I can manage it. I know I can manage it.
So.
everybody has their own things in the building. I don't have any kind of building in the room, and I was totally put everything there. Yeah. And I had to move everything out of the house to start to do things. So
I guess I would move to deny the request for an extension on the property and start a $50 per day fine to be assessed on the property.
Is there a second to that?
I would, second.
Any discussion? What is the fine normally?
Well, I think we have the ability up to 224.
224 is it?
I think
Starting now.
Starting today.
Well, it sounds like if there's significant change and the fines keep adding up, he can, at the end of compliance, come and ask for some kind of forgiveness on some of that.
what would be
So-
the policy for that would be in the court system, though, Kathy, not with us?
Until he gets into compliance, it's in the court system. At that time, once he's in compliance, our attorney will come back and ask him.
Would that be Macy or would that be our prosecuting attorney?
Prosecutor.
any fines we get,
So right now, this is at the board level. Hang on.
I don't know, it's-
Yeah, I think I hate to do it, but we haven't seen a lot of traction without it. So I think $50, given the circumstances and our ability to start anywhere from 0 up to 224, I think that is the appropriate starting point, and that's why the motion was made.
Yeah, I'm not against the dollar amount at all. I think that's reasonable. Everybody, Doug's seconded it. You wanna go with it, Linda?
I'm good with it.
All right, motions are made and seconded. Without any other discussion, do I hear any?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So, sir, you will begin immediately receiving $50 per day citations until this property is brought up to compliance. Once you do get up to compliance, it is possible you can come back and talk, you'd be going through the court system, but there is a possibility that something could be worked out. But until that point, you will accrue fines.
okay. So what anybody that is for that fine could go into the house to make it properly okay.
Sure. Noted. All right, item 10, new business. A, discussion necessary action regarding 2022 through 2026 Premier Inspections LLC contract.
I have in front of you the contract for the inspections. There has been really no change in the costs or the percentages. It's just an extension. The contract expires in December. And Ryan was interested in contract, so they end up.
Comments, questions from the board?
I have a couple. First of all, in terms of contract, is this the initial term?
Thank you.
3 years? January 1st, 2020, December 31st, 2020. And then is Brian getting, I thought he was given a very small increase in his inspection. And you have $20 per hour, and I thought there was a small increase on that. 20 or 25.
Is that on the first page?
Yes, and on the first page, under scope of work, the last paragraph.
Right, right.
That's all, that's all.
Okay.
I'll bring it back up. Yes.
Okay. Doug? Linda?
I have no problem.
Mark?
I have none, and in my inspection of this item, I did consult some people that have drawn permits, and they're very appreciative of Brian's work with them and how he provides customer service.
Agreed. We have either the best or one of the best in the area. So very appreciative for that.
Wow.
Is there a motion on the
I make
contract?
a motion, we accept Brian's contract as it is with those two changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Take my mark. Everybody understands
Mhm.
the motion?
Mhm.
All right. Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Stuck with us for a few more years, Brian. Item B, discussion necessary action regarding ordinance 2021-20 related to park committee duties.
All right, so in front of you, you have an ordinance to put duties for the park committee in our code. That's the only thing we have that ordinance, and it does not have anything that gives them outlines what the expectations are. So I did, as the board had mentioned, that I should work with the Parks Committee. I did that for a couple meetings, came up with this this list, and then I brought it forward to you.
Has the town committee seen this at all?
The Park
Parkman,
They haven't had the, or in this format, but yes, I walked through all the duties with them. And, because some of them came from them. So I had asked them what they felt that their responsibilities were as a park committee. So I went through and actually worked with them on this.
in the past, has like Marlene actually signed a contract in the past?
No, there's no contract.
No, because I'm referring to your third paragraph on page 2.
Mhm.
The committee has no authority to enter into contracts or
Right,
spend
no, she
funds.
doesn't.
No.
She sends them to, she sends them up to us.
Doesn't, okay, it just
She
comes.
sends them up to us.
Oh, she always does.
Yeah.
So who owns, who holds the funds then? The town does?
The town holds the funds. We have some of the funds that is in our operating that we use, and then they have in
That
account,
we use?
you know, that they use from what you approve for like the extravaganza, the expenses for extravaganza comes from
Okay.
the park budget. So the rest of, they do collect funds from the vendors, and they use those to pay for different things for, and we don't have that in our budget.
Do you have a active role in how they spend the money too, or no?
I do not.
No, just the
The
committee
committee
does.
does that.
Okay. Is that, say if we even call you anytime, is there a running total for the park committee that you have, or it's just in the town funds? Do they have a
Yeah.
regular tally?
Yeah, they do. And we've gone through it. The treasurer has gone through it to make sure that what we have is what they.
So it's
to
a
make
separate
sure
account?
it's a separate-
Okay, I didn't want to commingle with everything else.
Yeah, no, it's not in
Okay.
our general fund.
Mhm. And is it always, okay, proved, I see in one of these, it says they are prohibited from making policy or directing Lisbon employees. Now, where did I see? And you're the administrator, you're involved as well. Let me see.
Committee has no authority to enter into contracts, spend monies without the
town
approval
board or
of
the
the town board
admini-
or the administrator. So
Okay.
when she's saying, when the park committee says we're going to bring in a clown, and the clown's gonna cost $75 or a bagpiper, they talk to me about that. I have to
Okay.
just make
Is
sure
that the way
within
it's been
budget.
normally?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question on the members. It says the town chairman shall appoint the committee of 9 citizen members. Do we still want to keep a town board liaison to all these committees and things that are set up? Because it doesn't say anything about that in here.
Right. I did not put it in there. It wasn't in there originally, so I did not add it. I didn't know what direction it was going in. There's nothing wrong with having a liaison.
The board member was historically not a voting member.
Right.
Well,
It's just as the park division lead, he's at all of the meetings as well, but he's not a voting member.
Right. And I know that it says in here very clearly that the committee has to relay to the town board all the current things and stuff that's going on, which still might be easier for a board member liaison if he was there.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that needs to be, I'm just saying it kind of currently is that way, and it should it be written in here? I don't know.
It's up to you.
Because I've noticed in the past that you give reports for the park, for the town and stuff like, for the highway department.
And then I send you the departments.
Right.
And that's
Isn't it-
working out pretty good, I think.
She doesn't get a report on the park committee. It's a report on what the park
Employees.
Department,
employees are.
what the Parks Department is doing, right?
Division. Correct.
Right.
And that's written by our DPW director, and I just take pieces that I think are something to state instead of reading the whole report, and then I give you the whole report.
I think it would be good if we had a liaison to the park committee, because then they could report on what festivities they're doing and what they're thinking about doing.
We can do that without having it in the ordinance though also.
Right, no, I'm just saying, I think that I don't think it needs to be in here. I just think that we need to think about it.
Because if it is in there, then you're gonna be committed to doing it, right?
Right.
And you're switching the meetings to Wednesday from Monday?
No,
On the first
no,
page.
yeah, no, I'm not. I'm keeping it at Monday. Thank you.
Do you have to put in there that it's at the fire station or anything?
No, I didn't do that on purpose, because if the fire station is not available,
Okay.
and they have to come here, I didn't want to put that in.
Is it always
specifically.
9 members on the park committee?
Yes.
Do they have 9 now?
They have 8 right now. They have one that's kind of considering.
Okay.
Maybe the meeting should also be like whatever they have to be consistently every month, but what they decide on. Maybe they want to move it to Thursdays or maybe they don't want to keep it the third Monday. Maybe they want, I don't know, if it's in here, then they have to do it on that day, right?
Yeah, or they can do a special meeting if they want to change it to Wednesday. Just change the special meeting.
Or you saying they just said they'll meet once a month?
I'm just throwing that
They
out
can
there.
always change, just like a board meeting, they can change it.
Okay. Okay.
Are other committees by ordinance dictated to the day and time?
No.
Something that they requested.
Oh, the sanitary, that's not.
I'd be happy to take it out. I just was, they wanted that in there as well as the place, and I took the place out because I thought, just in case something happens and we have to move to a different place. But I'd be happy to take that out.
Doesn't matter to me unless it matters to them.
I mean, it's not statutory like the board, I mean, so our meetings are set to be on this day and this day.
But if you're putting it in an ordinance, then, and it's,
Ours is an ordinance too.
then it's set.
Yeah,
Do you want me to remove that last
Take
sentence?
Yeah.
I would.
You got it? Perfect. That's where the Monday was wrong.
Because we're gonna,
Gonna take it right out.
I think the first sentence in that paragraph says what's gonna happen. It's gotta be
Yes.
properly noticed and posted.
Yep.
So. Any other comments? Anyone wish to make a motion on the ordinance?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-20, an ordinance to repeal and recreate chapter 2.11 of the Town of Lisbon Municipal Code Park Committee in draft to strike the third paragraph of 2.11A to eliminate the creation of the meetings sentence. And I think there was one more, correct?
Nope, that was it.
No.
That was
The
it.
same sentence.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Doug. Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item C, discussion only regarding future DPW plowing staff needs.
Oh, you moved up already.
He's getting already.
Trying to keep the show on the road.
Yep.
Kind of.
Hard to read, but I'll go over it. Simple. This isn't gonna be a big deal. I just wanted to talk about it first. But this is the main issue. All right, so just something I've been seeing over the years, and this is by no means a complaint, and actually it's quite exciting to be part of the town of Lisbon while it's growing like it is. But what we see is, the growth going here and the staff and the truck, we're getting workers and all that, but just the staff, the truck, storage, lagging behind a little bit. So just something I wanted to bring to attention for, this is winter, down the road, nothing now, but instead of talking to you one-on-one about it and then don't get to talk to everybody, it's just a quick way to touch on a few things and see where we kind of rank. So that being said, we generally have 9 plow drivers, 9 big plow trucks, 1 small truck out for parking lots and whatnot. And last year we did a lot with 8, not because we wanted to, more because we just couldn't find a 9th part-time plow driver. Bonus going into this winter is we'll have 8 full-time plow drivers, meaning 8, at my disposal, including me on one of those days. But anyways, plow drivers that, that's gonna be a big difference than last year where we were going with 7. 8 just bumps us up to, we're almost there, basically, and we only need 1 part-time plow driver. So Kathy and I will be working on the operating budget, reducing the part-time plow driver, but really needing to leave just a little bit of money in there to potentially get that 9th driver and be to where we need to be consistent. Because with 8 drivers, we average 15 miles per route. And as you can see, that would put us pretty much at the maximum of the municipalities that I got information from. But the big comparisons that would be equal to us are your town of Oconomowoc and your town of Merck, somewhat comparable. So the 3rd one down and then the 7th one down, I believe. If you see the miles, they have 85 miles each. We are at 120 due to the fact that we also plow the village of Merton. And then we have 9 routes. They have 5 and I believe 7 there. So all comparable, but the big difference, if you look at is cul-de-sacs. We have 180, town of Merton has 94. We're double the amount of cul-de-sacs. And that, when you think about plowing and cleaning up, excuse me, that's 5 to 10 minutes per cul-de-sac roughly. So just stuff to think about going forward as we keep growing, that a 9 is a good number for this year, next year probably, because a lot of the new development isn't going to be fully developed to the point where it's high priority yet. But going into that 2023-24 winter and beyond, you're gonna have a lot of these new developments fully filled, and we know that level of service for them needs to be the same as it is for anybody else. And then at that point, do we need to start looking into a 10th route or something? And that might be the 24-25 winter, but it's definitely not too far away. I'll just say that much compared to what we see out there with numbers. Then at the end of the day, we don't have to do anything if we have a level of service that is whatever it may be. It's just a matter of what do we want the level of service to be and where do we want it to be at. But I put out a good level of service. I think we all know that. So I'd like to keep it that way. I hate to make it, stretch it out. So I got some pride behind this, obviously, but so that's just a quick, something to throw out there. And I was going to be here anyways tonight because of this, so I threw it on there. To talk about it.
So one of the things that when Joe and I discussed plow routes and the growth in our town. One of the things that surprised me is a different way that you do your plowing. So where I came from, until we accepted the roads with the final lift, we didn't plow those roads. But here your process is you plow roads before we take them on as public roads. So although we're saying that the subdivision isn't in yet, and there's one house on it, our guys are still plowing that extra road. So I just wanted to let you know that that was just a little different, something different that I noticed. And so,
for agreement type of thing, it's just been that way since I've been here and prior to me being in this position. And, you know, a subdivision that was put in with no houses or construction only is gonna be low priority, maybe not even get to it for the next day. But the minute you get one person living in there, right? They gotta get to work just like everybody else in the kids in school. So it changes dramatically very quickly. Just a time thing. And
I have a couple questions. Yeah. So 15-mile routes, typically how long does it take to do that?
so a once around, which I always call a turn and burn, you're going into an intersection and you're just turning and going. You're not pushing through and clearing anything out. 2.5 to 3 hours per route. And then in comparison to a full cleanup where you're gonna push intersections, open everything up, turn lanes, and then clean up the cul-de-sacs and dead end easily, depending on depth of snow.
So,
5 to 8
so
hours.
2.5 hours so you're starting at 5, 4 in the morning to get everything done by 6:30 heavy, go to work
My
traffic
goal is 6 to have everything touched once for buses. The buses are on the road by 6.
by 6, yeah. So 2.5 hours, yeah.
So you're putting yourself at 3:30. Ideally, 3 is my number. You generally always start at 3. That's like your magic number unless it's a doozy, will come in at 2. But 3 is a very
But
common.
the other question I have is, so you're using a part-time, used to use 2 part-times. And as the staff keeps growing, is there considerable work for them in the summer too? And how hard is it to get part-time people? Because I know it's hard, or it has been hard. Same thing with the fire department. It's hard to get part-time people, but then is there enough work for those guys during the summer too? I just throwing this out.
It's trees alone, I think, can keep somebody busy for a long time right now. There's some stuff in the works we've talked about for future, the way we can get more staffing, but honestly, I'm not looking for that. You know, right now as a full timer, we literally bring to the operating budget, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. It may change a little, but an easy number is $5,000 annually to have a part-time plow guy compared to 70,000 maybe for a full-time.
If you can get them.
If I can
If you can get them.
I have a couple of feelers already. I mean, it's early, but you gotta start now, otherwise you're sitting there. So part-time is tough right now. I think everybody knows that. But that's all I'm worried about right now. I actually don't even have, could we put another full-timer on? Sure, we just work, but that's not what I'm looking at right now. It's just discussion.
I think this is awesome that this is coming forward, and I think there should be some long-term, even long-term 4 or 5 year plans for all of the town departments and everything to figure out.
To add another route, you need a guy, obviously, or girl, and a person.
Yeah, part-time and or full-time, right, and
Right.
the truck, which is, and we have 10 trucks, so there's always a spare, which you really have to have a spare truck. I don't know any municipality that doesn't have a spare truck, so 9 on, 1 spare, so you'd end up being 10 and 11 spare down the road.
And
So
how many we have now?
10 total.
Oh, we have 10 now. So the truck thing is kind of there.
We're okay with trucks at the moment. Like I said, storage is probably our biggest, if you're gonna go priority wise, it's almost storage. Truck and staff kind of go hand in hand, but the storage part, if you come over by us, you see trailers tucked in on angles. We're just, now granted, could we park things outside? I get that. You guys invest money in this stuff. I like to keep it nice. I keep it inside. That's just my motto, but it's snug in there. And I know there's options for fire department. So I'm not looking to go crazy yet. Maybe something will happen and one day we'll have that, and then it'll be a big different story. Just stuff to throw.
Comments from anyone else on the board? Becky, anything? Mark? All right. Anything else, Kathy?
It was mostly just bring forward and then make you aware.
And yes, you do a great job.
Thanks, Linda.
We've never heard anything negative from what you do.
He's all right.
I try.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Discussion D, discussion necessary action regarding the capital project presentation by the All Right Public Works Director.
All right, so I think the 5-year was at the back of the CIPs for each division. However you want to go through, I'm gonna just go through each CIP, and then if you got a question, you can let me know. I'm gonna try to go quick, but not overly quick. Salt shed first, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So we've been putting money away for the salt shed in a sinking fund, $50,000 a year, $10,000 from Village of Merton funds to go for the salt shed. At the end, or once 2020 hits and the funds hit that sinking fund, we will have $410,000 in there. It's including, the approval of this 50,000, obviously. And I had Conkle do some estimates, shed only, so a salt shed that is well capable of what we want, 2,000 ton, it'll set us up for a long time down the road, is $445,000. And if you're listening, I just said $410,000 in there only. So we have a little different, but Kathy and I talked, and I always love what Conkle does for us, but I always feel their estimates are a bit aggressive. So we do get this approval and we move on next year. We just get hard numbers and we find out where we're at. And who knows where lumber is and isn't and goes to, it might come in under 410 or it might be 420 and we work the deal or something. And we bargain. So I think it's worthwhile for us to put this back 50 in, obviously, and then go out to bid for some stuff in 22 and see where we're at.
Where
Now,
would you put this?
so we're
on
gonna
your
end up
land?
removing the old one.
Or would you?
There were scenarios that we talked about, but this seems to be the most cost effective. So I already kind of whispered to the Village of Menominee Falls, if anybody's driven by there in the last few years, they put up a massive 10,000 ton salt shed a few years back. So they have enough room where at the end of winter, I can just, and it's a nice, you have to work a little deal of landing because there's no trucking and good hope and make sure, everybody's aware of what we're doing, but we could load out of our shed. Hopefully it'd be down pretty good because it's the end of the season, haul it over to their shed, put it in a corner, demo the salt shed, rebuild the salt shed, and then prior to the following winter, we truck our salt back in and it's all hunky-dory.
So the present one you got is no good for anything.
It's not that it's no good, it is old, but the doors are rough shape, stuff like that, but it's small.
Oh.
What we're doing, our big problem is we pull out salt for, if you get a 3 or 4 day event, or not even that long, but just multiple events with days in between only, that shed gets depleted. And now I would rely on quad axles coming from the island to deliver salt. So you play the game of phone call down there, 2 to 3 days out easily, if not more, depending on truck and load and all that. And now you're relying on them bringing you salt, and I'd hate to have to say someday that we don't have salt because we can get it, where the 2,000 ton is their seasonal fill. We fill it up, shut the door, pull from it all winter, end of the season, you refill it. It's a very common practice for municipalities.
You couldn't use it to store any of your equipment, just curious.
Oh, I'd love to do that. That was one of the plans, was to build it out into the hill. And
Right.
Just the price kept going up for excavation and all this other stuff. And
Is there any resale value in like a landscaper or somebody
yeah, the
might buy it?
lumber might be worth something.
I don't-
didn't
not
kick
that
the
it
tires on that yet. We'll find out.
Mhm.
But the other thing, just to throw it out there, I did have them quote out a shed with a storage bay, so full single width, single bay storage tunnel, I'll call it, with a garage door on each side where we could actually back in both of our paver trailer and our skid steer trailer. Those could be backed in nice, and then it'd be easy access for everything. It would open up the cold storage building we currently have, and it would really take a little bit of load off the storage issue, but 500,
Well, and on the side of this salt shed?
correct, it would be on the south side of the salt shed, kind of right, just easy in and easy out, be neat. But if we got, money, it's not another $100,000, so that's a tough one. Well, I still may get quotes on that, just curiosity sake. I know where we're at with that. I don't think.
Any questions?
I don't-
Okay, number two.
Cool. Okay, the lights. So you guys already approved last year phase 1 of 3 for LED upgrades to all our We Energy street lights that we pay on. And it's a good improvement. I don't know if you pay attention to lights like I do maybe, but you go from a high pressure sodium, that orange light, to a nice LED that really brightens up the intersection. Some people not a fan because now they, it's in their yard. I don't know. I like it bright. So, and for us plowing at the intersections, that light that brightens everything up. So whatever. Plus it's a cost savings. We talked about it last year, but it's a 7-year deal. And after that 7th year, you'd be making money, saving money on, what you're paying now. And that's the.
We'll have one more year. So as long as we do this one more year next year.
Correct.
Everybody good with it?
Mhm. I am.
3.
So this is something that Doug and I were talking before too, he's kind of curious, and I agree, I just wanted to put it in capital, but we've done this before. My operating budget for building maintenance is $3,000 only. So a garage door kicks, or something, that's a lot. I mean, a full garage door with an opener is $8,000 figure, even just the garage door itself without an opener, I think it's right around 5 they were, so. I don't even have enough money in the budget to do something like that. So if we wanted to, we can move this into operating. When we get to operating, I just wanted you guys to be aware of that.
What I brought up was the fact that some of this building maintenance that we have isn't enough. And patching a roof might be considered an operating maintenance budget on a building at 4,000. I know that our department's only 5,000 a year and they're over it. And, some of the maintenance on these buildings, we probably should be increasing the operating budget on them to where some of this could be done.
How bad are these rips? I mean, do they need to be done before winter?
No, these are no leaks yet. They're tear on the, the vertical side, not the horizontal. So what happens is they rip. We had that one member above the door, you walked in and we patched them a couple years back. The same things happen and then we just don't get to them. They start tearing down and then they get to where the water sits. Right now they're high enough that unless it would be
It's on the,
catastrophic rainfall or something.
it's on the parapet walls.
Yeah.
So the
it's
water
just-
still goes down though in that block and
Oh, yeah.
then it freezes down there and then it starts moving the block and the doors.
Sure. Any questions on that one? What is our policy for triggering?
But he's got some other, the next couple of things. Figure out yet.
Yeah, that would work. Next one, $30,000 for, I had a mason come out and take a look and he went around the whole building, including the fire department. Obviously, we're gonna do this, we wanna do it all at the same time. Got a handful of spots that could use some help. I've noticed it over the years and I've been wanting to do this. Never since I worked there had anybody, Doug may be able to fill in on something on the fire department side, but I hadn't seen anybody come in, nothing, scary. But we do have a section now on the northeast corner that it's actually the block is starting to pop off a little bit. Pretty soft last thing, Wisconsin. So he saw it, he didn't, freak out and tell me we need to come here tomorrow or anything, but we gotta do something there. So just the tuck point, everything, recalk tracks, interior, exterior, all the way around the corner was $30,000. So it's a little pricey, but it's a big building and I don't think I've seen any of that in a long time.
Who quoted you on this?
Mason, I've used these to work up on this chimney that we had demolished, so guy out of Hartford.
Okay.
I mean,
It's not that you
obviously-
have to go with this, it was just a
No,
estimate.
This was just to get a
Mhm.
estimate type of number, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get a formal quote. when we get to it. Next thing then would go in tow with this is the $15,000 for painting. So I think the building is due for a little facelift. This would be to go once again all the way around, including the fire department, including bollards, including lettering, everything. So it would be a really nice facelift that would last many years. And yeah, like Kathy said, if you roll 30 and 15, 50 and 45, and you just throw another 5 in there and you're at 50, that would include the roof now, the masonry and the paint. We could do something. That was
Is this 15 in that third capital cost?
with fire, you mean, or what? No, well, it could be, but it would be for both buildings, but I didn't write it up that way. That's 15 total would cover both. It's not 15 times two.
Would we want to see it split out?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I would rather see it as one capital cost.
Once the fire department moves next year, then we take it over anyways. Pretty simple if we are probably. All right, now we move on the equipment for the highway. Truck, I think it's obvious, we've done this every year since I've been here, so we put money away for the sinking fund to get a new plow truck every 2 years, and you do get a little bit of a surplus in there, because we always shoot a little high, so we're covered with truck increases, and we were able to do that 2 purchases of the Max a couple of years back, and I'm proud to say, doing all the recent numbers, Joan got me some information just to confirm my stuff, we're gonna be in great shape to purchase another truck in 2024 with a surplus of $20,000 to $30,000 once we keep throwing the money in. So we're in a good spot where I was a little bit nervous of how it's gonna shake out. I knew we'd be close, but we're gonna be okay. So that's what that is.
The question getting back to your operation needs for the future. Could we go to an extra route? Do we have stuff for it?
Do we? If every truck was on the road, you'd have no spare then. But mind you, that spare truck is definitely a spare truck for a reason, you know.
I thought you said we did have it. You had 8 routes, go to 9, and you have 10 trucks now.
Right.
We're supposed to have 9 routes now.
We've had
Oh,
9 routes
oh.
since I worked at the town of Lisbon. And we, as in myself and 2 of my guys that were willing to give her a little more, came in at 2, 1 in the morning a lot. We
Okay,
covered.
I misunderstood.
No, 9 route, it was always, what was it, 6 full timers and 3 part timers when I started.
We would be going to 10
Route.
in
Main
his
route.
proposal.
And then there would be no reserve truck.
You're right, the 8 kind of, I got Kathy kind of used to that 8 number because that's what we did last year, but I try and just pretend that's not a real number, because we look at the miles and all that, you know? It's just, we did it because it's what we do. We're not gonna knock all the roads, so the guys came in early and we.
So- Just a question.
Yeah.
The next new truck that you buy, can we keep the old one as the reserve?
You'd have an 11% total?
If you're gonna go to 10 routes?
Yeah, I mean. if
I mean,
we
at
do
some
that.
point, can the reserve
That
truck,
would be what you would do, is keep the spare truck for a 2-term spare, right? And then you would extend that out an extra spare, you know, it'd be the spare for 4 years instead of 2, because you would sell it after 2 years as a spare.
well, every
truck.
time you buy a new truck,
Yeah. And
We
That
just
one would-
wouldn't, we just wouldn't trade in the second oldest truck. We'd keep that.
Correct.
you just keep it as the reserve and then,
Right.
and
Maybe a
then
way
change
to
that
do it.
out.
You
The
know,
reserve would stay the reserve and all, we'd buy a new one and then
Whatever. I'm
we'd have
just
to relook
saying,
at our sinking fund.
to get an extra truck isn't really,
it's not that difficult, he's right, you would just stretch out your spare truck an extra 2 years. It's not the end of the world. Definitely something, if we ever did do that, we'd want to look at the 10th truck and talk about it, because these 10th trucks are 15 to 18 years of snow. I mean, you guys know what your vehicle looks like after 15, right? And we're in the snow before anybody else in the plot. So they're, we clean them good, but.
Right.
bottom line-
You know, the reason I'm asking is, are we, if this is our desire for operational down the road, I would, as a board, not want to get there and have to purchase a truck.
Mhm.
If we can
It is a great idea.
rotate in so that we're preparing for this, so the only operational cost is wages.
Yep, I agree.
And we're not buying a truck this year, we're buying a truck next year.
Yeah, we ordered a truck, we talked about it in 21, it'll be built, it should be here by December and then built next year, and we'll have it for, not this, for this fall. And then it'll be 24 when I'll probably come in late 23, like we do.
So that
to
would
get
line
your
up.
order. Well, and the neat thing is, just throwing something out there, Wisconsin surplus has plow truck go up for sale. If we had a weird situation where we said that 10th truck was, but you needed to get a truck that could get you 5 years, not 15 or 20. They have trucks in there for $50,000. All I'm getting, it's not.
We bought a used fire truck once.
No good, huh?
well, you know what? It worked for a few years. It was, at the end of the day, I think it was, not economical either. I just don't.
We've had it, what, 10 years now? It's gone now, I guess.
Well, it's
but
gone this year,
We
but
had
it
it for
hasn't been in
almost 10
service for
years.
a year, huh?
We had it for 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put out fire.
Okay.
All right, that's done. Number 2 is the $12,000 for the chipper box. We had talked about this. It was 10,000. Obviously, with steel prices, I'm covering my butt a little bit. I don't want to have to come back to you guys. Hopefully, we dump a little money back. But this was those new trucks. We had the bodies built due to steel prices. The chipper box pushed it above the money we had budgeted. So I said I could take that out. But if we brought it to capital, we can put it back in. These bodies will be built in early 2022. This is approved, hopefully. We say, here's, we got the money elsewhere, build the chipper box, and the box comes, or the truck comes through us, lock, stock, and barrel ready to rip with this chipper box. It was the ideal that we wanted from the get-go. It just didn't work out. Now
Is this chipper box stainless?
it'll be aluminum.
Aluminum.
Yep. So. All right, so 3 would be a roadside mower. I brought this to you last year. Our Kubota is 16 years old. We did spend some money, significant money on the transmission repair for 3rd and 4th year this year. But run fine now for that reason. But the mowers are been hanging on there for 16 years. And they do a lot of crazy movements in the ditch and all that. And they are getting wore out. I did reach out to them, and they, due to the size of our tractor and the mowers nowadays, it would need to be beefed up the tractor. So that's why you go with the different model. So if we wanted, she had asked, which is a good idea, if we could retrofit new mowers on our machine, because that's the problem. You're constantly welding, they're cracking, you're repairing them just all the time. And I'm not trying to exaggerate. It's every couple of times they're out there, something. I'm not saying it's costing thousands of dollars, but you're coming back to re-weld on it. Because you're just wore out. They're 16-year mowers. Think a year-long mower at home for 16 years and stick with what this one does with the articulating and all that. So it's just, it needs to be on the radar. It's just, I know it's a big cost. I understand that. So it's tough.
I have a question. So you have the Kubotas set up with some mowers, and then you have a John Deere with a cab and everything like this, and it has an arm. But this is still going to be set up like the Kubota was.
It would be some, yeah.
Yeah, so
A
it-
rear flail and a side flail.
Because the
That's
other,
your mainline mower, tractor. That Kubota is out all the time for roadside mowing. The John Deere with the boom like you stated is out as often as we can, but I don't have enough staff to keep them both going. So what Mark will do is generally he's running them. He'll just kind of go on one for a couple of days, and maybe if he needs a spot where he needs that arm because it's further off the road or he's cleaning brush, he can jump in that one for a day and then he comes back to the Kubota. But the Kubota / next tractor is your front line.
and that Kubota, has it got a cab?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a work. I mean, I'm a guy, I'm very pro, sell it when it's worth something and, get some money back on your investment and buy a new one. Before it starts to make on that, this one already somewhat makes one, and this I think not, but. Number 4 is another piece of equipment that we're very interested in getting. It would be a lift for tree work. I mean, in essence, you could do anything. You could put this inside a building and do light change, bulb changes, but it is primarily would be used for tree work. It is obviously has a hefty price tag. So a couple scenarios were split it up over a couple of years, something like that. But the benefits of this are we can unload it on the street, put the legs down, use it right on the road. We could go off-road with it if, the resident, we were able to. Obviously, there's gonna be scenarios, if you can get it in, you don't want to tear up lawn, stuff like that, but you could put it off the road and work right there, keep equipment off the road for safety purposes. But the big benefit for us is now you have dual purpose. You can do all the highway work on the streets, and now we can take it to the parks and go on the path where you cannot get a bucket truck. You just can't. I mean, there's a lot of trees that are falling on another tree, and it's a very tough cut. It's a dangerous cut because you don't know. So now if you can get up there and bring it back, much safer. So I did look in the rental, you can rent these. Now the dealer's in Illinois and the other one's in Pennsylvania, so a little bit of a road trip, but it's almost $6,000 a month. And I understand you guys like rental, but if you did the math, it's 23 weeks of rental and this thing is paid for. We will use this for more than 23 weeks, not in 1 year, obviously, but this lift would last us 20 years, probably easily taken care of. It's, we have so many dead trees. We don't have one. I do fortunately get to use Sussex's bucket truck, but you're at the mercy of when it's available. And just to have a piece of equipment that you own and you can take out whenever is awesome, for the fact that you planned it for today and it rained. And now you had that truck from Sussex or wherever lined up and, you know, lightning, you're not gonna go up in a bucket truck and lightning like this morning. So now you lost your day that you were gonna get it from somebody who rented it. If it was ours, if you switch gears, you don't care, you go do something else and you have it for the next day or the next week. So we've been talking about this for a couple of years now.
I just got two questions. Don't these lifts like have this, where they have to be certified by somebody every year? Or?
I know the bucket trucks get inspected every year. I
Yeah.
don't know about the lift yet. I'm sure there's some.
I don't know. I don't know what that deal is. And then is there any way that you could buy this with Sussex?
I don't know about Sussex necessarily, but maybe a neighboring municipality.
I don't know. Just-
Yeah. Definitely something. I know Pewaukee has one on order. Berlin has one.
Maybe Merton.
I was just gonna say, Merton. Oh, I got one more. Yep. So, and the 135 is high. There's another one out there that's 105, I want to say. That's comparable, but I didn't want to, we demo and we'll check them out and kind of which we like, but the roller, this is just a kind of a scheduling item, I guess, 20 years old. Our roller is 2,900 pounds. If we were to upgrade, we would move up to the next size, which is 5,900 pounds. The 2,900 pounds is okay for little stuff, but there's a lot of times you're rolling asphalt and all that, and it just, you can tell you're just not getting what you want out of it. You put another 3,000 pounds on the machine, you can roll lines out, you can move material out easier, you can, just makes more sense for probably what we're doing. I'm sure 20 years ago when I purchased it, it made sense at that point, but I think as time evolves. So mainly a 20-year item that I was just looking at replacing, and it's on the schedule. So the next thing would be a brine trailer, pull behind, self-contained brine trailer with the remote in the cab of the truck. So we built a 250-gallon tank with a pump and a spray bar that goes into the 1 ton. We can, if we're gonna go do all our hills, curves, stop signs, shaded areas, you probably go through 750 gallons or so. It's a day or two worth of work. So this is a 1,000-gallon tank. You'd be able to really cover some ground, and we're really noticing the results of pre-treating roads where you put that, as they call it, pan for cooking. You kind of get the pan down on the road for this situation, and it doesn't let the snow and ice bond to the road. It keeps a barrier in between there. When we come through and plow and sprinkle salt behind, it meets that brine underneath and they just meet and burn off. You can just tell the intersection pop way quicker than areas that we would have. So, and it's looking at 21 cents a gallon to apply that. It's very cost effective, and then it reduces your $75 per ton salt. So over time too, I mean, everybody's jumping on the liquid game. It's getting more and more traction every year. And if the DNR ever does track down with like they want, they keep talking about switching from granular to liquid, but I don't know if that's really gonna be possible. It's gonna take some time, but it is something that could happen. That'd be it for the equipment. Then just, we wanted to touch on roads, and Kathy had a good idea to put it on capital just so it's out there and not something we always talk about during operating, but it is within a sinking fund. I did put $500,000 on it. We have talked about that before with Mitch and myself and the board about to keep our PACER rating at the level that it's at, especially after we spent the $8 million on the 26 miles of road. Kind of at the $500,000 to $600,000 a year to keep the road going. So,
Can I ask, what is it now?
PACER rating, or you mean
What-
how much?
Well, you have a sinking fund now for roads, right?
Oh, how much is.
How,
in it.
what,
So
how,
I didn't pay.
no, I was, how much a year are you
Three
putting?
hundred we've averaged.
Oh, so you want,
350.
so you want to go to 5?
Usually it starts at 5. And then when the numbers are up there on the board and then everybody doesn't wanna, I get it. It's an easy place to lose a little money, right? I mean, so we kind of start up there and then we drop back down.
Oh, I thought there was a set amount of money every year that you were putting away for roads. I'm new here.
So we are, we're doing 3 to 3. I'd say it's anywhere from 250 to 350.
Okay.
250 to 350.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mitch is, we're working on that. He gets. So, yeah.
It was great reading.
The neat part is to see where we're at for miles. On that. Okay, that was the biggest. I remember sitting here not long.
Don't think you're gonna be done tonight.
Okay. All right. So.
He's always like this.
Park. I can sit here a lot longer. So. We did ready Park 5, all right, Lake 5 bike path. numero uno. So we were awarded the CDBG grant, which is very exciting, $75,000. So the council estimate of 102,870 minus our 75 leaves us with roughly 28,000. We do have money set aside for this already, so this should not even be an issue, but we wanted to at least obviously talk about it in the budget for next year. So we should be in great shape to have this path all down in Lake 5 road.
Nice.
Is this in addition to what we did before or just redoing it?
The path has been there for years in gravel. This is to put asphalt on it, and it'll connect Barnwood Conservancy, Hardeman Meadows, and the village of Mern, all the way down to the bug line in essence in the Lisbon Community Park.
Can we put a stair lift on that hill coming out of the park? Wow, I gotta walk my bike all the time.
I hate to say it, maybe you just gotta be on your bike. Hey,
Fair enough.
You said yourself. You put it on. All right. So playground equipment next. We have been working on Stone Family Park to do an improvement there. And there's the possibility of a match from the village of Sussex in the amount of $100,000. We have impact fees in the amount of roughly $85,000, leaving a roughly $15,000. But just to put it all together, we're waiting on a couple of the final numbers from playground companies. We got some path and the money, Mike and I figured out, and we're all good. So 200,000 will cover this whole thing, but in essence, it would potentially be $15,000 of capital for 22 to redo the stone. And that's, you have a new subdivision there that was a trail called in the village of Sussex. Mark Moonen might have kids who may want to use the playground, and then it's all gonna tie in together and go over there. So
I thought they donated, if Sussex was willing to go in more for than 100,000.
No.
No.
50% up to 100,000.
Oh.
And they did put the 100,000.
Okay.
So
That's what we're expecting.
Okay.
get it out there. You guys can obviously approve it how you'd like to do it. But I think if there's anything you can upgrade to one technical playground, that's a great opportunity. Next thing is a.
Can I just ask you
Yeah.
something? Someone said that those are, some of those are newer things over there at Stone Family. Are you going to keep some of them there?
What we would do is ideally move them.
To where?
Lisbon Oaks Park, or Lisbon Oaks Park could use a few upgrades. We could take them to Stony Health Quest, take some of the good stuff and eliminate a vintage unit at an old park. And
Okay.
that would be a quick little upgrade. So we stretch that $200,000 out in essence and mix it up with some of the other
Okay.
parks.
That's all. Thank you.
No, good question. That was in my notes.
You can't keep it at the park, because you're doing boarding place.
Yeah.
And with boarding place, they don't allow you to have. Has to be off.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
take any equipment that is at the park. That is worth moving. We'll move it to another location.
Okay. Thank you.
Next thing is building improvements at the park maintenance building, the main parks building out of Lisbon Community Park. Now that Mike and I have been in the game for a year, we've started, getting ourselves caught up a little bit, I'll say, and just seeing what's needed over there. We have HVAC upgrades. There is no central air through the office. The ceiling fans, there's no fans at all in the shop area. It gets quite hot, obviously, when you have no AC in the shop and it's 90 degrees outside. There's just, say the fans we put in the DPW building are awesome. And just on a 90-degree day, you can have a heck of a breeze ripping now, and that's huge. It makes a big difference to tolerate it while you're working in there. So ceiling fans, the garage doors are all, he had to have one repaired for, $150 this year. They're older. They're all on the borderline of who knows what. So this is just upgrades, light remodeling in the office, his desk area, we want to rework a little bit. So we were open to splitting this up over a couple of years, or maybe do 15,000 for year one, see what we can do. We usually can knock out some good deals and see what we can do. And then maybe the following year, we don't need 15 and we need 5 or 10, or I don't know, but 30 was a good number to cover all of it.
This sounds really stupid, but how about window air conditioners? Would that work?
There's the one in there. It's just, it struggles to get through the whole area. And I'm not hearing.
Okay.
I know they're AC, but at the end of the day, right? Everybody got it.
Yeah, yeah, we do. Okay.
All right. So the next item in order would be request somewhat from the park committee that they would upgrade the playground equipment here at Janesdale or Memorial Park. And yeah, it's getting near its end of its lifetime. I wouldn't say it's junk by no means, but it's a lot of money to spend. And the parks and the playground, except for some of the newer equipment you're speaking of, are 20 to 30 years old. And I'd say it could be some from the most part, what you see is 20 to 25 years. A lot of the manufacturers say is what a playground life expectancy is. So we're probably at or near that, or even beyond that at all of our parks. So probably something that should have been talked about a while ago, but it just we're looking into it. Liability stuff you gotta think about.
Is there anything over here that you can use again?
This one's pretty old here.
Even that train station? I mean,
Well, the fire station would stay. This is mostly just the playground on the south side of the pavilion.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah, we did a little touch up work on it with some paint and.
Right. I was gonna say, I looked at it and I thought, gee, the train looks,
Yeah,
okay.
no, we would leave that. That was newer. So that's what kind of happened over the years. There's been some money invested here and there.
Okay.
Another request that we talked about would be adding exterior doors to the town hall building right here at both of the bathrooms. So you'd be able to enter both bathrooms from the outside. They could be Wi-Fi controlled, they could be timer controlled. So on the weekend, if you knew you had an event, they would open at 1 and close at 5 or whatever you would need. Some of the benefits of this are you'd have that flushable toilet option that if you are doing shelter rentals now, somebody like that idea, this is the shelter they rent out. Obviously. They didn't need that, then they have other options, but it's kind of nice to say, instead of having to build toilets and have the septic and the sewer and the water and all that into a remote location at one of our other parks. You have it already here, you're just throwing some doors in. There are some ADA concerns that would go with these bathrooms that we would have to make sure are all good, and things would have to be moved, but there's an estimate that was where we were at for having it done. And it kind of goes in total with our next thing, kind of not, because we could potentially have the town hall open, but we were talking about doing a movie night. If the town hall is open, then you get it. But if we weren't gonna open the town hall vestibule, then you would want to access them from outside, and we were talking into it, some of the revenue generator, movie night. Kind of need to get a lot of insight to it. Get some more action in person. So it's kind of sort of. All right, on to equipment for parks. We threw a little bit. Apologize. I put it on the 5-year, it's number 1. So this the one you're looking at with the utility vehicle, we put it on the number 2. number one that it came, you know. Fastest, and then I totally dropped the ball.
Thank you.
I'm sure it isn't.
So exciting.
So this would be a skid steer mounted snow blower. We already have a skid steer, so we would just need the snow blower attachment. Ideally with this paved path that we're putting in along Lake 5 Road, this would be a big benefit to clear the snow off our path to connect the paths that get cleared by the HOA for Barnwood, the Village of Merton and Hardman Meadows. And then it would tie right into getting people to the Lisbon Community Park for winter events and whatnot. So, and these are awesome. They can shoot snow 50, 70 feet, I'd say. So you're, not only is it ideal for that path, you could take it to the park then and clear the parking lot on a deep snow and you're just running out of room and the trucks are jamming and the truck can only push so much. Now you can start shooting it further away. We could ideally use this. I mean, I don't know how often we would, but you'd have it for the emergency of a cul-de-sac where there, we don't have the room to put snow anymore out in the, on the property. We pile it in the middle. You could blow it in the trucks. You could, when we clean the village downtown Village of Merton, which every year is different. Last year we did do it once. Some years we don't do it. Some we do it 3 times. You'd have that option to blow snow in the trucks rather than the way we're out there with the skid steer and our holder. So a lot of more options than just doing that path with this at relatively cost effective.
Could you just remind me, what does Merton pay toward this stuff?
55,000 roughly for the truck, 10,000 for the salt shed, and then we do charge for labor, fuel, salt storage above and beyond. I guess I don't know what the annual number would be. It's something to be looking at, but
I'm just curious.
yeah, but they pay, and this is something that we could talk about, and even that 10th guy, going back to that for a quick second, the Village of Merton is putting in one heck of a subdivision that's just getting started this year, and they'll only have a small cul-de-sac that'll need to be plowed this year, but next winter, they're gonna have roads in everywhere, and it's pretty much the last open property. I believe that's the Helpless property, they call it, along Eastworth. That'll be built out, or at least paved, and now you're talking a pretty big chunk for the Merton roads that need to be plowed. So also something that we could talk to Merton, and they work well with us. I don't
Will
think
they increase their budget to us when they add a
Well,
subdivision?
that's what I'm getting at. When we cross that bridge, that's definitely, we don't necessarily take that burden on 100%. It could be a 90-10 type of split or something, because they're fun roads and good. So, but, and then, yeah, they could, when we go to the village to clean up downtown, for instance, I go off the DOT spec for all the pricing. We bill them for everything. So we don't do it for your.
And they've always been good about working with us.
So
on
if we
that.
see like 10,000 here or 25,000, you're saying that Merton might contribute some more money to that?
I'd say on this, no, but we would bill them for the use of it when needed.
Oh, when needed. Okay, I gotcha. So some things yes, some things no?
Yeah, I'd say going down the road for an extra plow route and an extra plow truck, that would be a place where they would bump their 55, and that's what that's close. that number.
63.
Just 60,000 or whatever.
60.
A season?
63,000.
Season, that's it?
That's not all.
No, that's just the truck and the salt shed. They still pay hourly wage for every, I keep track of everything we do.
Okay.
That goes above it. Fuel, right? They
Okay.
cover their own fuel cost. Salt storage, because we store all the salt. So they pay, I mean, it's time and material pretty much. once you get
Okay.
rolling.
That's okay.
They're a good neighbor.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Well,
Yeah, they
they're so
definitely-
happy with it. I think they'd be very willing to work with them.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be one on the equipment, and like I said, your 5-year is correct. Unfortunately, the next page is going to show priority 1, that should be 2 if you want to make a note.
Yep.
And then your next page 2 should be 3. So a utility vehicle, currently the Parks Department has a Gator, the 2012, just shy of 5,000 miles, which for utility vehicles, a lot of miles. I'm actually impressed that that thing has that many miles. It's cruising around the park, but that just goes to show you how useful it is. It's a very versatile piece of equipment that can go on the path. It can run down the Oakwood Road if you're setting up a weekend event and you're putting all your stands up. It just doesn't impact your grass surfaces, your turf, buzz it anywhere you want. It's just very quick and easy rather than throwing a truck together and then driving off those trucks. So obviously they're built for going on turf with no damage, and that's what it's been used for years. And also for grooming your ski trails. List goes on. It has tracks that bolt onto it, so it can be used for the ski trail grooming. They put a sprayer in the back this year for spraying weeds and all that, so we've been using it for that a little bit, just spot spraying, where you can cruise around and spot spray your, weed killer. And I guess that's kind of it. Ideally, you see in my notes at the bottom, if you read through it all, we were talking about potentially keeping this keeping the Gator and buying another one, and we could save $5,000 by not buying tracks for the new machine. Because the new tracks we have would not fit in the new machine, you'd have to get new tracks. But if we have the old machine, which I looked at some numbers on trading, you'd probably be at 5,000 to 10,000, tracks are 5,000. So almost, depending on how the trade would come in, it could be a wash where you could just keep the machine and have your tracks, which would cost you $5,000. And then that machine, in summer, they'd have 2 of them, which is a big park out there, right? And there's a lot going on this year, especially when we had 6 guys running around and only 3 trucks. It was nice to have that option. And you'd be able to just keep the tracks on it in the winter and pull the groomer, and that would be dedicated for snow. So, something to think about there.
What is this vehicle?
The utility vehicle, side-by-side UTV, however you want it.
I mean, the 35 is in spec for a specific one.
I did work with Polaris just because that's what we liked, but obviously, once again, this is a budget number, and we will work on getting a Gator price from the Polaris. Yeah, no, we like the Polaris, so that's what we aim for. Very nice machine. So the last thing for parts equipment would be dump trailers. The dump trailer are run more payload, all brush, all their size, or they're felling trees at remote parts and then the haul the material back. You don't have, a dump body in a truck size or like that. Obviously, you can build stuff up, but then it's a pain about the load. So you just got those short sides and you're throwing brush in and you're trying to get down the road and it's bouncing up. This could just haul a lot more. And I think one of the biggest things to me is right now, when we go out and mow, which your idea, in prime time, we're mowing easily 3 days a week. That's the only trailer we have that's heavy duty enough to haul any of the other equipment to park home. So if we're sending out 2 guys to mow, we ideally would have to unload them, they start mowing, chase the trailer back, take it to where you want to go, hopefully get back to where they're mowing. And, they're not waiting for you to move them to the next part or wherever they keep them. So it's $16,000, not that expensive, it's very useful, between the dumping, the hauling, you could go get stone, you can run them into the quarry to get gravel. And then obviously.
Is there storage at the park department to store some of this stuff?
The new equipment, we have a cold storage building that it's also getting snugger, but there's enough room, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That'll be next. We have it on there. It's on the 5-year Anyway, so, okay, that's the part.
Town hall.
And then quick one here, town hall quick.
What they did the roof.
This is just, we got a little leaking issue in the ladies' room, so it'd be another patch that we could have them put in the building maintenance. I mean, another building that's not exactly 5 years old, obviously, so it's just, and our building maintenance across the board is everything for probably a little low for the ages of buildings running, but either way, that can be slid into the operating budget and talked about during that. It's just I wanted to have it on the radar. AC updates, we just did this to be prepared and be very proactive. I'm a proactive guy over a reactive person. Those things out there are going to be 30 years old, and we had one service this year. Just had some issues with it, but when I don't know if you guys recall that one time you had the meeting. So we got it serviced and looking at it, and we got all the serial numbers up. It's like, wow, 30 years. So they're not dead yet, but they're definitely not long for the world.
This sounds kind of dumb. Is there any way to say if we voted to have that here, if that one that you repaired works good enough, can't you move it over to the parks?
The AC, no.
No.
I mean, we're talking
No.
30 years. I mean,
I'm gonna answer that one for him.
Okay. you know?
The Freon that.
These are R22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't even make that Freon. You can't use it anymore.
Oh.
It's illegal and
Okay,
those gotta be.
that answers that then. I was thinking here.
Oh, no.
No, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay,
Don't ask, don't know.
perfect.
The last thing that Lisa will come to you a little bit more about, I think I'm just working with her on it, it was the late edition kind of talked about, was the potential here for a standby generator, which I think is a great idea. We all know what happened within the last month with the power outages, and
Mhm.
luckily you didn't have an election or tax season probably going on at the time. I would think it'd be pretty ugly to have that happen during an election day or prime tax time. So something that yeah, it's a potential $20,000 investment, but it's peace of mind for many, many years.
That'd be great in our new town hall.
Yeah,
And that would be something that would be, obvious. Nowadays, you just put them in. And I think a lot of new homes, you're seeing them more often than you see them.
oh, yeah.
It's just a nice thing, because people get power outages 24 hours and it's great when everyone else is. you know, So I'll write up something a little better for Lisa and she'll bring it. But I think I heard yes on everything, so thank you. And,
I wish,
I
I
know.
really wish.
Well.
We'll go through the budget, and see what we have.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
This was just a. What the costs are, so we have
All right,
to go back and check.
thank you.
So, thank you, and anytime
Thanks,
you
Joe.
guys have a question, call me up or. you can come up, you know, obviously.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Next, we have closed sessions pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parent E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically regarding Sussex Board Agreement and Pamela Poliak's and Brian Builder's offers to purchase, and pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parent C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employer over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically regarding administrator evaluation and personnel matters. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I so make a motion to go into closed session.
By Linda Beal, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mark Moonen. Roll call vote, please.
Chair Listerman,
Aye.
Supervisor Moonen,
Aye.
Supervisor Beal,
Aye.
Supervisor Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Flotecker.
All right, that's 5-0 to go into closed session at 8:38.